Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you've tuned in to watch this edition of Hypnosis Week Live. My name, as always, is Alex William Smith by birth, but better known to many of you as the British bad boy of hypnosis, Jonathan Royal of magicalguru.com. As always, enough about me. I've got another wonderful guest for you this week who's going to share with you their insights, experiences, and insights and experiences and thoughts and views and ideas and whatnot on different areas of hypnotherapy. This gentleman I had the pleasure of meeting. My time scale of things is ridiculous, but it was sometime in the past 18 months. I literally can't remember right this second, but it was sometime in the past 18 months in Chesterfield in England at Future House Therapy Centre, where I was doing an event there. We met physically in person. I got talking, very knowledgeable, very experienced. But that aside, in fact, as always on these shows, I will be asking the questions that you, the people at home, will likely have running through your head. Although I do still keep getting emails telling me, you should have asked this, you should have asked that. Sorry, time is limited. It's only the ones that jump to mind. So please welcome all the way from Ireland, Cormac Colleran.
Hi Alex, nice to be here. I think it was probably about 10 months ago. I'm thinking maybe April last year in Chesterfield when we met.
There you go. It just life, it's like, it doesn't seem 10 and a bit years ago that my daughter was born. These days, I don't know what day it is most of the time. Thanks for joining us on the show, Cormac. Now, look, later on, we're going to talk. Obviously, I'll give you an opportunity to give out your website, and we'll also make sure that the link to it is below the video and whatnot, so that anyone interested in what we'll talk about towards the end of the interview, namely this, for want of a better phrase, I'm going to say franchise that you're in the process of introducing to the hypnotherapy market. Anyone who wants to find out more can contact you, and I know that you've got certain kind of like free taster days coming up and stuff that they might be able to come along to and all that. I'll give you a chance to go into all that later. Although initially, the question I ask everyone before we get down to brass tacks, as it were, is before you were a hypnotherapist, there was a time when you didn't know anything about this stuff. So what was your journey to get to here, so to speak? How did you end up involved in this industry?
Okay. So I used to work in the pharmaceutical and medical device sector. I used to work in what we'd call continuous improvement, continuous processes. They're highly regulated industries. And I suppose now I'm in continuous improvement as well, only it's people rather than processes. I had hypnosis many years ago to quit smoking. I was quite enthralled by it. I've always had an interest in human psychology. I've always had an interest in human behavior and how we can affect that. So over 10 years ago, I left the pharmaceutical sector and I studied coaching. From journey into coaching, found out it was quite easy to lay out a path of improvement for someone. It was quite easy to set goals, set milestones, identify obstacles, and decide how we're going to overcome these obstacles. But quite often there was still inertia within the client, that everything was laid for them to do, but they weren't able to do anything. And that led me to exploring, how can we overcome this? How can we overcome what's happening at a deeper level that is preventing them from taking the steps that they want to take? And that led me through studying NLP right through to hypnosis, where I began to discover the power of the subconscious mind. So I have been running Dublin Hypnosis Clinic here in South Dublin for the past 8 years, and also running Results Focused Hypnosis, which I think we'll talk about later.
Okay, I'll just make a note of that for Results Focused RFH, okay? I have notes here. People are wondering when I look down, it's so that we can make sure we get everything covered. Okay, so that's how you got to where you are. Now, 8 years. Well, we probably are going to segue into the whole franchise thing as we go along, but I suppose we're probably best off starting there, but then we'll segue off it and go back to it. So in terms of, could you mention to me that you're kind of setting up in your words, what would you call it? I mean, to me, it sounded like a franchise, but there again, it could be classed as just being a proven business model. It depends in what manner that you're going to share this with therapists to help them increase their business. How would you describe it?
One of the big problems I see is therapists, like really good therapists. They train, they get the skills, they get quite good at it, but they have no idea how to turn their skills into a business. They have no idea to actually become a therapist, get regular business from it. So I've seen that. I've been training therapists for quite a while now, and I've seen many really good people. They get their training, and months after, years later, they're not doing it anymore because they had no idea how to earn money from it. So what I'm doing and intend to do, Alex, is to solve that problem for people. I have business experience from my coaching. I used to do quite a bit of business coaching. I used to run start your own business courses for enterprise board Ireland and across Dublin. So I understand the business side of things, and I'm taking what I've learned from my own practice, and I'm taking what I've learned from coaching small business people, and I'm creating, I suppose, a model. Individual therapists from different geographical locations can plug into the system. It saves them like investing in their own website. It saves them having to digital marketers and social media people. All of this stuff is done for them. Also, in terms of like processes, like how to speak to a client on the phone so that they turn from an inquiry into a client. And as you know, that's not the simplest thing. Lots of our clients, they ring around, and if you're speaking to them, I believe it's incumbent on you to have them in your office and you helping them. So there's processes that can help improve people in all of these areas. So along with taking care of the business side of things, there's a lot of training and mentoring involved with result hypnosis. The idea is that we begin to build like a community or a family of therapists that we meet online every week. Ideally meet once a month together. We'll come somewhere together in the UK or in Ireland, and share thoughts, share ideas, keep everything together so that people are involved rather than doing a training and leaving the industry. Becoming involved with a family that can help each other out. An example might be you have a client coming to you, don't know exactly what to do with them, or you're not sure what the best approach is. When we have a group of therapists together, someone can bring in their issue, have a chat about it, so that now they're going back out with proven and tested methods.
Right. So I assume this is just a marketing thing then. You're not going to be teaching people how to actually treat people then, are you?
So
the reason I asked that is you just said, like, for example, if people don't know how to deal with something, they can speak to the family, as it were, the group. But so I assume you're not going to be, this is for people who are already been trained somewhere. This isn't for...
I'm looking for people that are trained, absolutely. There will be ongoing training and support. One of the philosophies that I follow myself is of a growth mindset rather than fixed. So that means you're always learning. Again, I think when
can I just clarify? This is definitely not for people who've never done hypnotherapy training before. You're not like going to be teaching them.
No, definitely not. They need to have hypnosis training. I want people to be able to step in and actually deal with straight away. No,
that's cool. There's obviously going to clarify that because of the comment you made before about, if they didn't know how to deal with something, because it's always been my opinion that if somebody does a bloody hypnotherapy training and find themselves in the position where they don't know how to treat somebody for something, then frankly they should go back to the person they learnt with and demand a full refund because the course wasn't fit for purpose. Frankly, in my opinion, if you've been taught right, you only need one course. Simple.
Yeah, I certainly agree, and unfortunately I've seen lots of trainings out there that people come out after their training and they don't feel confident enough to deal with client issues. They may feel confident to deal with a few, but once it gets complicated, they don't feel that confidence. So in those kind of areas, there kind of support. There is that kind of, there'll always be extra training. There'll always be honing your skills. There's always going to be mentoring, helping people to, if they've tried one or two things with a client, we talk about like what else might work. So it is that type of support that people need, especially people in their formative years as a hypnotherapist.
Let's get to brass tacks here, because I mean, in theory, it sounds like a wonderful idea, but I'm sure people at home will have thoughts running through the head and questions that you probably get bombarded with emails. But if we ask them now, at least then any emails you get won't be asking these questions because you'll have already answered them. So it'll save your inbox being full of the time-wasting ones. So the first thing that occurs to mind is the general advice to anyone in business, and I'm not talking about hypnosis, just any business full stop, when it comes to franchise. If you get something like National Franchise Magazine, for example, it will categorically in the front of National Franchise Magazine lay out a few things you should do due diligence-wise before you invest in a franchise, so that you know the full the full picture, as it were, because glossy magazine adverts can seem dead glossy and wonderful, but then when you dig under the surface, it may be that what they're claiming is entirely true. It's just that in actual fact you're not cut out for that type of work or whatever. So it's not necessarily anything personal about the business opportunity. But one or two of the things they will definitely bring up is they will say, well, ask, and I'm not going to ask you to do that right now because obviously I didn't give you any prior warning of this, but one of the things I will ask is to ask the person selling the franchise or business opportunity to clarify how much they themselves have turned over, on a yearly basis for the sort of past 3 years. So there you go. What was your turnover in the past trading year, the year before that, and the year before that? Was it a nice 6-figure and above income?
Absolutely. I expect that my franchisees will be, franchisees should be doing a minimum of $2,000 a week. I expect really most of them to be doing more than that.
Okay. Now, there's expectation, but you talk about proven business models, which is what franchises or business models are about. So, are you, as it were, the pilot in this, or have you actually set up a pilot with somebody else? And I ask that because I've got experience in the franchise industry in so much as I was involved in helping to set up the largest chain of entertainment agencies in England and Europe ever, that had like 56 different regional offices at one time. And before we ever took it to the marketplace and claimed it to be proven, rather than it just being the entertainment agency office that I worked within, they got someone else, an external company, to run the business model and got proven, verified, limited company accounts to show their turnover over a trading year going from zero to hero, using that business model to prove that it actually works for other people before we even ever went to the marketplace. So, I mean, have you done that with somebody?
No, I haven't, because we're still learning. What I do have is a team of very professional social media guys, Google AdWords guys. I've built up a team of people around that have been working for my clinic in South Dublin. My clinic in South Dublin, literally now I have a 3 to 4 week waiting list all the time. I'd be happy to show people individually that are interested in coming into the clinic, I'll be happy to show them some actual statements of accounts. I'm certainly not happy to put figures here online straight out like that, but any people that are interested.
Why not? Could I categorically say that my, turnover is well in excess of the figures that we've been mentioning? But there again, I'm not selling somebody a franchise and claiming to give them a proven business model that's going to make them X amount of money. If I was, I would categorically be publishing my accounts online.
My turnover, I can absolutely categorically say that my turnover is well in excess of 100 grand.
Right, more importantly, what sort of profit level? Because turnover, as they say in business, is vanity.
Profit is 6 figures.
Okay. People will hold you to that and check. There are no doubt they'll want to see documents, but in that case, that is into the realms of being, a sort of income that people would realistically want to invest into finding out how to acquire. However,
I think so. And what I would say is, I'm not going to promise people in year 1 or year 2 that they're going to make a 6-figure profit. I do expect that many will, but I'm not going to promise that to people. I do myself in the area I'm in. I'm in a populated area in South Dublin, so there's enough people out there. All that we really need is it's throwing the net out in the most efficient, cost-efficient way to bring in the right types of inquiries. When the right types of inquiries are there in front, then the process is about how to convert that inquiry into a client. And then when the client is there, is to actually give that client the right solution for the problem. And when the problem is solved, that they've had good enough experiences with you that they're not just happy to say, okay, I've gone from problem state, that they've used a part of their mind they don't normally use to get to the solution. Why not go further? So it's about having processes in place to have that client happy to become a regular client. Once we've got those steps in place, now...
why should anyone become a regular client of a hypnotherapist at all? I mean, isn't that slightly... that sounds at first sight to me somewhat unethical and immoral. Unless the person comes, for example, somebody comes for stop smoking, why should you be trying to upsell them something else? Surely if you treat smoking in the right way, you'll be finding the underlying cause, the triggers that made them smoke. You'll be removing them so that symptom substitution can't take place. So there's no reason why it should manifest anywhere else. In which case, why should you be trying to upsell them something else that clearly at that moment in time they don't want?
So let me answer that. I believe that so most of my clients that come to me for quitting smoking, it was a problem that they had that up to that point was impossible for them to solve by themselves. They've spent an hour with me and now they've solved that problem by using a different part of their mind. There's a whole part of them that kind of sits up and goes, oh, what else did I think was impossible that could be possible? So when that part of them is triggered, they start to look around at other areas in their life. Oh, maybe my job, I'm not really happy with my job. Maybe have limiting beliefs about my ability to get a new job or to get a raise or to get promotion. Other areas of their life, it could be their health, their fitness, their family, their relationships, things that they thought were impossible. And now there's a part of their mind trigger that goes, maybe it's possible. So as a result of the session with smoking, I have a lot of clients that say to me, wow, that was amazing. And they'll call me back in a few weeks' time and go, I'm thinking there's other areas that I'd like to make improvements in. Can I come back in? And at that point then, when they come back in, I'll sit down and I'll use kind of a life coaching model to get an understanding of where you are now in certain areas in your life and what are the outcomes you'd like. Mm-hmm. We do hypnosis sessions around bringing them from where they are to where they want to be. It's than just problem to solution. Now you can go from solution to living a fantastic life.
for the record, I mean, anyone who's watched other episodes of Hypnosis Week knows that I'm playing devil's advocate here and asking the questions that you want to. I knew there'd be an answer like that. Because the truth, it does happen. You do get clients afterwards realise, if I've managed to achieve this, perhaps I could deal with that as well. But I don't want to be the one saying that. I let it come from Cormac, you see. However, putting the devil's advocate, I even bloody speak now, get a new set of teeth. Okay, we'll try that again. Playing devil's advocate again. Why? I get that you can't guarantee somebody that you using the XYZ business model that they're going to necessarily make a six-figure income in the first year. I totally get that, because you don't know their geographic background. You don't. There's so many variable factors that it's going to take a matter of time you working with that person to tailor things to what their specific geographic and all other elements are. So I do totally get that. However, if you have strategies and business models that work, that you should have at least some level of confidence in them. The way I would put that is, I do not profess to guarantee that anyone using certain business models that I will teach them is necessarily going to earn six figures or more a year. I just make it quite clear these have worked for people, but the fact is you've got to actually put things into action for starters. Nothing happens without some kind of action on their part. But what I do, despite the fact that I'm not charging them a monthly franchise fee, despite the fact that I charge for the amount of training they get far lower than anyone on the planet, I still offer two things. So my question would be, devil's advocate wise, why not offer similar things? One is I offer people a full money back guarantee, a 1 year, 100% satisfaction money back guarantee, and that is quantified by the fact that they are guaranteed to earn at least £12,000 sterling, or the equivalent in euros, dollars, whatever their currency is, more bottom line profits during the 12 months from joining my Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp than they did in the previous 12 months before joining it, or they get 100% of the money back. Simple. Now, I'm not claiming that I'm going to teach them how to make 100 grand or more a year, although many people do. I'm just saying that as long as they put into action what's in the boot camp, they will make at least £12,000 sterling, or the equivalent in euros or dollars, more profits, that's the key word, after expenses, more profits in the next 12 months after joining the boot camp than they did in the previous 12 months. Mm-hmm. And I've only ever had to refund one person in the past, 10 years. And even that, frankly, legally, I wouldn't have needed to, because it was clear that they hadn't even taken any action at all. So there's got to be some level of confidence in what you're offering. What sort of guarantees are you going to offer people?
So in terms of, I suppose there are two different products in terms of, for a money back guarantee, I'm not offering a digital product. I'm offering
no,
an ongoing thing.
Money back's based on results. All right, I'm selling people stuff that's in a digital format with the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp, but that said, they also get free backup advice from me. So if ever they need to, they can email me, ring me, ask whatever they need. So It's not about it being digital or physical, it's about results. I'm giving people a quantified, guaranteed result that they take the information, they put it into action, that's the key. Same as it'd have to be with you. It's no good you teaching them something if they don't do it. Yeah. And as long as they do that, I'm guaranteeing them £12,000 sterling, or the equivalent in euros or dollars, more bottom line profits, not turnover, profits, additional in the next 12 months from joining the boot camp than they got in the previous 12 months, or they get the money back. Simple.
My expectation, my minimum expectation in a year is that I would take an income of 50 grand. That's like €1,000 a week or £1,000 a week, wherever they are. That's my
Same
minimum
expectation. What are you prepared to guarantee?
I'm not. No. For the simple reason that
If you're not prepared to guarantee something, that really raises alarm bells. You know, you look at National Franchise Magazine, for example, and there's a wheelie bin cleaning business just at random. I'm not going to mention its name. If you want to get National Franchise Magazine, you'll find it has double page adverts in there. And they categorically guarantee that as long as you follow their business plan to the letter, that in your own geographic area, that you will make a guaranteed level of income in your first year, guaranteed, otherwise you are refunded any of the franchise fees or other payments that you've made, because they know their business model. Their advert then clearly states, we expect you to earn more than that, but this is the level we're prepared to guarantee, quantify that is on the fact of people putting it into action.
In terms of a guarantee, I would consider achievable conversion of inquiries into clients to be 50%, especially with the training that I will give any franchise host. So the guarantee that I would be giving people is that they're enough inquiries that if they convert half them using the training I give them and using the pricing packages that I give them, that if they convert half, that they're going to be making an income of 50 grand in a year. Now income, I understand.
What about profit? Because cost of acquisition of clients.
Myself, I probably spend out a little under 50 grand a year to run my business. I would be expecting people, this is to run just my clinic in Dublin, I would be expecting people to spend about 15 grand a year for the franchise. So 1,250 a month. And out of that, so I think then minimum really that people will be expecting will be 30 grand a year at the minimum. This is my expectation for people. We're still in early days, so I do expect there to be some teething problems, especially getting to know.
I'm totally playing devil's advocate, and I'm sorry. It's unfortunate for you as an interviewee, Cormac, that I actually sell a package that contains all the marketing materials anyone ever needs, as long as they get off their arse, study them, and put them into action. So I'm in a unique position to be able to ask awkward questions on this one. So if we say that you're on about them spending 1,250 quid a month for the franchise, that's what are you saying that is including what their advert spend would be on, say, Facebook advertising, Google AdWords, or is that what they're paying you and then they've got to pay for the Google AdWords and Facebook advertising on top?
No. Google AdWords is included in that. Social media is included in that. We will leave the option for people to boost their own ads on Facebook. So if they want to put extra boosts, but we will create all the ads. We will create. I mean, I spent a day yesterday with a videographer creating new ads, creating good high quality videos for results focused hypnosis. So we have all the templates for people to create their own. We have professional ones that I've created so that when someone comes to visit the website, they can see them, but also the social media outlets. Each different person in whatever area they have will be an administrator of their own page. So it might be results focused hypnosis, Chesterfield, for example, and they will get to run that page. We will put posts through that page on a daily. We will create ads for that page. We'll create videos for that page. We'll have testimonials for the page. All of this stuff that takes time, that lots of people are afraid, lots of people don't know how to do. All of that stuff is taken care of them. We will be saying to people, if you wish to boost ads yourself via Facebook, that you that. We do, however, advise on the different type of spend between Google Ads and Facebook. Their advertising fee will pay for their ads, for their Google Ads. In my experience, an inquiry from Google is highly, way more profitable than an inquiry through Facebook. The simple reason being is if someone inquires through Google, they're actually in the change process themselves. They've decided to change, they've gone and searched, they've made an inquiry. If it's Facebook, they're just scrolling through their phone in the evening, they come across this thing about quit smoking and interruption marketing, it's called, as I'm sure you know, and it's they'll kind of click on and go, oh, maybe, and they'll like send a message. Is that most of those inquiries tend to be kind of dead rubbers. They're not anywhere near as motivated as Google inquiries. So what I've found is that you could spend a lot of time ringing people, following people up, emailing people that are Facebook inquiries that just aren't there. They're not in that space. You may get one or two, which is why it's important. I think the main strategy around social media is that it's presence, so that if a person does come to that point where they decide that they want to do it, they've seen your ad lots of times, they've seen your presence, they've seen your posts. It's building you as an authority. It's building your brand as an authority and a thing in their mind. So while that's important, our main area of focus will be on paid Google advertising and SEO advertising, because that's where people are hot. That's where people are ready to make changes. Your franchise fee does cover all of that Google ads.
Okay. Now, there has to clearly be a limit on how much Google advertising you're going to do on people if you're only charging them £1,250 a month. Mm-hmm. For example, for certain areas of my business, I spend well over £1,250 in a month on Google AdWords. Mm-hmm. However, my return on investment makes it well worthwhile. For every pound I spend, I'm making a very nice profit. Thank you very much. And that is the point. The more, the more you Google advertising, depending on what you are marketing and depending on what you are charging, can affect how much you've got to actually spend.
Yeah.
To get your return on investment, you actual to hit the people who can afford what you're charging if you're going for a higher bracket or whatnot. Mm-hmm. So how are you quantifying that, in the sense that are you telling people what they're supposed to be charging their clients, for example?
Yeah, I'm certainly advising. I am talking about the model that we use. I'll certainly advising. We will be, so when people come in from different areas, we just do a little bit of research. We find out what people are charging in that area. We want to position ourselves. I certainly believe in positioning ourselves at the premium end of the market. I do understand there'll be certain geographical areas that we need to have wiggle room on that. And I fully expect that there'll be thieving problems that we'll have to work out with people. So I'm not rigid on hard things. I know that in early stages of a new business, there's a major opportunity for people. I also know that there'll be thieving problems. So I understand that. I expect that will happen. In terms of advertising, just say you wanted to do a national media campaign. Now, a single hypnotherapist to do that, it's just going to be, it prices them out if it's too expensive. But what about if there's 20 or 30 people across the UK?
So you can also fish your money into the pond, because media advertising's dead. Pointless exercise.
So what I mean is, when you choose the exact right media, when you choose the right place, it might be a certain corporate well-being expo, for example. So rather than one person just getting a stand there, the company gets a stand there. So everyone that has a franchise gets benefit from that. Mm-hmm. So there are lots of things like this. Also, so let's just say, so we mentioned Chesterfield, where our friend Martin Rothery is. Let's just say that someone had a franchise in Chesterfield. So what I intend on doing is having days for, maybe it's once a month, that we bring each of our therapists, we all go to this place, so we'd all go to Chesterfield, and we would have an advertising campaign around that town and that area in the weeks leading up to it, saying that there's a bunch of hypnotherapists coming. There's going to be an evening where you get free hypnosis. So we'll give a talk to people. Maybe it's around anxiety, maybe it's weight loss. We decide what we think is most prevalent in that area. So whoever holds that franchise, they're getting lots of people, they're getting lots of business, lots of interest, lots of people in all in a certain day, and they're hearing about hypnosis. There's going to be 10 or 12 or more hypnotherapists working with people individually through the thing. You're building the profile of the practice. You're building the profile of hypnosis in the area, which is very important. Lots of people have anxiety, lots of people have no idea that hypnosis can help them over it. So that we're going to use the power of the group to go into a certain area and really build a profile of that practice. So, and then we can get some local media in and say, this is, so local media will hear there's like 15 hypnotherapists coming into this area, giving free hypnosis to people who can't afford it. So you're getting profile.
Why would 14 of those why would 14 out of those 15 hypnotherapists want to go into that other hypnotherapist area to help them? When frankly, any clients at the end of that will be from that area for them.
Because
but then if they get really busy, you see, off an event like that, they're not going to have any time to go to some other area and do stuff for the other therapist, are they? It's fundamentally flawed.
That would be a lovely problem. I think that would be a lovely problem.
I mean, it's fundamentally flawed. Well, if you don't have that problem, then it's not working, is it, to get clients?
Yeah. It'd be a great problem to have. I think when we're in that space where it's good to have, the idea then is that, like, you know, we're not just individual therapists spread out. We're helping each other, and that there'll be a bit of fun with these things. I know you like a night out with other hypnotherapists and a bit of fun. There'll be a bit of fun with these things as well. A bit of camaraderie, and so that people get
that side of things. Great. People need a support network. I couldn't agree more. And having the crack with other people in the industry, fine. But when it comes to the nuts and bolts structure of a business, the simple fact is the most successful people in this industry are one man or one woman bands who maybe possibly, whether it's their wife, their husband, a family member, or someone that they're stuck on the payroll, it doesn't really matter, have an assistant who fields the inquiries and does certain elements of making sure things run smoothly. But beyond that, it's kept very in-house, and you don't share the workings of your business with other therapists. And I guarantee you that all the multi-millionaires in this industry, and I've worked with a hell of a lot of them, and that's not an idle boast. Anyone can Google and they'll soon find pictures of me with millionaire life coaches and hypnotists who I've advised. Mm-hmm. They would all tell you that it's commercial suicide in this industry to associate yourself with dozens of other therapists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I suppose a good point. I guess I'm not talking to those people in this interview. I guess the people I'm talking to are other people that aren't the multimillionaires, that have done the training, that don't know how to turn it into a business, that would like a step up, that would like a help, that would like to potentially, first of all, to earn a really good living, would like to potentially within a year or two be earning a six-figure income. I imagine that there'll be people that join franchise that after a while will just go straight through the roof on it and will go out on their own, and they may be ones that become those millionaire and billionaire hypnotherapists. If they stayed with the franchise when they become millionaire and billionaire hypnotherapists, but I imagine lots of people will just go through the roof of it and continue on their own. And if the franchise business was a stepping stone for them along the way, then, you know, I obviously wish them all the best. That's I would consider that a success story.
Cool. So, I mean, in terms of branding, some things tend to have an umbrella name, or so to speak. What is it people will be buying into?
So, results-focused hypnosis is, first of all, so there's marketing, obviously. Marketing, it's done for you. It's like a done for you package. The only thing that we don't do is talk to your clients for you and give the therapy to your clients. That's what you do. Everything else is done for you in terms of getting clients, getting inquiries. We give you the training. Like, so I've trained hypnotists in Ireland on this one simple process, the phone process, how to convert someone from an inquiry to a client. And for the clients, for the therapists that I've trained, to a single person, they've at least doubled their conversion rates because of the process that I teach them. I use it myself all the time with clients. What it means is, if they're doubling their conversion rates, they're doubling their annual income just by this single process. And it's a way that we speak to a client. It's a way that it uses psychology, it uses trust, it builds compliance like we do in hypnotherapy, and it's just one or more of these things that we have as part of the franchise. Let me get into a few more of the other values that are in it. So, for example, we will have, I'm not 100% sure how this will go yet. I want to have other areas where where franchisees can make residual income. So there will be things like recordings. Now, if your client has come to you for a while and you've finished seeing them, that if you want to sell your client a recording, there'll be things on the website, and if your client purchases one, you get 50% of the sale of that. There will be things like teaching our hypnotherapists how to run training courses, how to hold evening courses, so that we'll have some online that people can sign up to. So, inquiry of yours, whether they become a client or just an inquiry, if someone that came through your franchise purchases a training course, purchases an audio, a hypnosis audio, then you get 50% of that.
What do you mean by training course, by the way?
You know, I was talking earlier about people that have come in for quit smoking, and then they're like, oh, you know what, this is brilliant, I want to get more of this. Mm-hmm. So it would be nice to have an option for them to say, well, there's an online course that you can do that we've created specifically for building your confidence and esteem. There's an online course that we've created specifically for. And these are still in early days. These are just things that I'm not in a position to reveal too much about them yet, but I suppose just to let people that are curious, let them know that there's, I mentioned continuous improvement earlier. This, continuous improvement of processes in my past work in pharmacy, continuous improvement in people that we work with all the time. There's continuous improvement, that same principle around building this franchise. How else can we give a franchisee income for kind of doing nothing? How can I give them residual income?
Why the hell would anyone want to sell their therapy client a recording with someone else's face or voice on it, for example, when the therapy client's got their result with me, if I'm the franchisee, and therefore the rapport, the trust, the belief, all the elements that make therapy work are firmly not just in place, but have been heightened even more because they've got the result that they wanted. Why the frigging hell would I, on any level, logically want to say, go and buy this with someone else's voice or face on? Why wouldn't I just record my own? Because that's going to have a far better effect for the client, who now already believes that I am the person who not only can, but has helped them already once.
Yes. I expect that's what we'll do. I expect that that's where we'll get to, where I will help the franchisees to record them. We'll put professional back on it so that they'll be able to record their own. I expect that that's where we'll get to. I also
just
think
give
that
them proven scripts, the necessary software and training to be able to do their own from day one, because that's actually better for the client.
So I suppose the main area of concern I have is how we're going to introduce it.
It's not
I don't want
difficult.
a franchisee.
I've got all of that stuff inside the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp. Scripts for everything. The software's in there so that they can record. Copyright-free music for the background and instructions on how to make them.
More the business model side of it. That what we want is, so if someone is making an inquiry to come to see a hypnotherapist, they've decided that they want one-on-one as opposed to, going on YouTube and getting something for free. So the business model side thing, what I want to do is protect the initial journey of the client for the franchisee, so that they're not distracted by, I can get this for 20 quid or 50 quid a recording, rather than going to see the hypnotherapist. They've originally decided that they want to come and see a hypnotherapist. We want to make that journey clear for them. But beyond the actual client hypnotherapist relationship, I'm exploring ways of offering our franchisees, our franchise holders, a way of earning a residual income, that we have things done for them, that we have, for example, like it could be an online course, or it could be that, I'll teach the franchisees how to run this particular course, how to set it out. We'll have all the modules done. I'll teach them how to do it, teach them how to market it, so that maybe one evening of the week they're going to have 15, 20 people in a room, where they're obviously going to increase income if you have 15, 20 people paying 40 quid a night, as opposed to a person paying, 100 or 200. Obviously there's going to be more income from that. So there are areas that will be coming on stream. So that version 1, we have version 2.0 and 3.0 back here, but we're not introducing them yet. What we want to do, get as seamless as possible as we can in introduction, get people in, get them acquiring clients, get them getting good results for the clients, obviously, and getting referrals. Even things like referrals, most clients there have no idea or most franchisees or therapists just don't know how to ask for referrals. And as you know, it's very simple, but people don't know how to do that. People don't feel good about it. We even have things like, you can think you've got a client arriving to you on Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday afternoon, don't show up. They've booked a session for quit smoking, then they've decided on that they're afraid to do it and they don't show up. So
don't matter what does it when you've already been paid.
I had that for years. Thinking people were going to come and they don't come, until I got a solution.
Well, that truly doesn't matter, does it? I love it if clients don't show up, because I've already had the money. Excellent.
So if you've already had the money, that's fine.
50% paid up front, 50% deposit when they book. The other 50% must be paid in full. It's taken automatically at least 2 weeks before the date that they're coming. If they're not prepared to do that, frankly, they're not ready for change.
Yeah, it works in certain areas.
Works anywhere if somebody's truly ready for change. If they're not prepared to commit to pay for it in advance, they're not serious enough, are they? Let's be honest. There's no excuses about this. Oh, different geographic areas can't afford it. Bullshit. Those geographic areas where they're impoverished, apparently, and they're on, universal credit or whatever benefits, are the ones where they're walking around in the brand new 150 quid trainers, and they've got the 36-inch widescreen TV and the PlayStation, the latest Xbox and all this bollocks. If they really, really want to change something in their life, they'll go, you know what, I'm not going to buy the brand new iPhone number 9.8, whatever it is, and queue up this Friday. I'll go and get this issue in my life sorted out instead. Because they can clearly find the money for the new iPhone 9 point, whatever the bloody hell it is. It's about priorities and if they really want to change, isn't it? Really?
I certainly have lots of clients that do really want that change, that aren't driving around in the fancy cars and the big TV, the brand new phone, that genuinely want change, that have very high housing costs. I mean, Dublin itself, rent is extortionate. I have clients that want the change, that will book in with me for literally the day after they get paid. I'm sure that's right around the place. It's around not just Ireland, it's the UK, it's the US. It's
but you know what? If they really want that change, and let's say they haven't got the new trainers, the new TV, they're just paying the bills, so they literally don't have spare money, or they're not working a job when they're also claiming bloody benefits, as a lot of these people do. I know I'm probably upsetting a lot of people. Hey ho, don't care. The fact is, if they really want that change, go and sell your bloody gold bracelet you inherited or something. Go and sell something. If you really want something, you will make it happen in life.
I don't disagree. Maybe we need them to be in our office, and we need to speak to them before they understand that also. When they're out there living their lives, have that same level of reality that you have.
But isn't that your job from a marketing perspective, to ramp up the pain enough that when they see the advertising, the pain's so ramped up that in that moment, the only thing they can think of is getting that money to pay for the solution that you've just bought right under their nose.
Absolutely, and we're always playing a percentages game, and if we can, we've got to hit the right note. I think really when they come in and meet us is when we can really ramp up that pain with them, when it hits home to them. I think marketing can only do a certain amount. Marketing generally has like very, very, it only has a second or two in terms of social media marketing. So that's what we're aiming to do. We're aiming to catch attention. We're aiming to do that. But as you know, it's a percentages game. What we do is hit the right percentages. I don't have all the answers. I have a lot of answers. I have a lot of experience. I have learned from a lot of painful
We say it's a percentage game, and it is to a degree. But those percentages can be massively narrowed down or heightened depending on the context of what you're saying. So I'll give it a context. Yes, you hit a marketing message at 100 people, and you might, if you just did it randomly on the street, get in normal mail order advertising, they say between 1 to 2.5% conversion rate. That is the industry standard for, if you're getting above 2.5% conversion rate on a direct mail shop to random people, then you've got a good return, assuming that you've done your pricing strategy right, so that 1 to 2.5% would give you a profit on the cost of sending them out, of course.
Yeah.
However, if you get a specialised mailing list of people who are definitely all long-term, forget how you get hold of such a list. This is purely a marketing example, okay? A list of people who've been on antidepressants for the past at least 5 years, and you were to mail shot those people with some specifically tailored, that when they read it to them will resonate. That's me. You're going to increase your conversion rate to well over 50% if that sales letter is good enough, for example, because you've targeted people that are specific with a specific sales message in a specific way that hits all the emotional hot buttons. And that is what the real job of marketing, advertising, publicity and promotion is. Yeah, social media, fine, it's an element of, but as you said, that's mainly about visibility and people thinking of you when the time comes. In terms of turning them into spending money now, it's got to be so specific to them that they're left with no logical choice, that they're psychologically in pain going, that's me, my life's falling apart, but here's the solution. So that they ring up, and there's no trying to convert them into a client, because when they ring, they're already sold.
Yeah. So, I mean, like an example for quitting smoking, we can target audiences with Facebook advertising, and me specifically in South Dublin, I'd say over 50% of people that come to me for quitting smoking are in their 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we use that knowledge. You can target people, but again, you can target the right people, and maybe they've expressed an interest via Facebook before through their actions. They've expressed an interest in some type of help for quitting smoking. Still, so they may click on your ad. They may even leave an inquiry. But unless they're in that place where they need to make a change, nudge them in the right direction. Certainly, I think that by the time someone inquires, that they're already through a few stages of that change process, going from I don't care, I don't need to make a change, to maybe I do, to maybe I do, but I'm going to wait for a long time before I do anything about it, to wait a long time, to maybe I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to peep out. I'm going to see maybe there's something that I can do, and then we meet the next stage where they've made an inquiry. I certainly believe that if I'm talking to somebody at that stage, and this is a philosophy that I would like franchisees to hold, that if I'm talking to them at that stage, it's incumbent upon me to have them in my office as soon as possible, because they've come through a number of stages. Now they're in a place, they're asking for help. We need then to actually give them that help. So, and there's a process. We put them into the pain. We ask them, why do you want to quit? How the cigarettes affecting you? What worries you about it? We give them a little chink of light, and then we explain to them a little bit more, give them more of an idea of a solution. One solution, the way I teach to do it is in that kind of Socratic style, or the just getting compliance, getting yeses, and we're getting unconscious yes from them. Generally, I give them an indirect close. Maybe that's something you like something you were hoping to hear. Would you like me to have a look, or have a look at my diary to see when we have appointments available? It's a process that works nicely and neatly. So right from the person being at home, maybe not thinking about whether they're going to make a change or not. Right from there, we have a system that throws the net out wide. Obviously, the filter gets smaller and smaller, and what we want is that the filter down here at the very bottom, as in clients in your office, that we widen that a bit and widen that a bit and widen that a bit. Essentially giving you a practice that you can live a good lifestyle with.
Okay, cool. Keep using this term franchise. So that comes with certain legal responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just for the franchisee, but also just for you as the franchisor. I think I've got those terms the right way around. So, I mean, I assume you've already taken out the necessary sort of indemnity insurances, in the sense that if people are working under a brand that's being marketed to them as a franchise, you have a certain level of liability in law, indemnity-wise, because they're operating under your umbrella.
Mm-hmm. So I'm currently in talks with the Franchise Association here in Dublin, who are obviously linked to the European Franchise Association, who up until the start of the month were probably still are the UK one. I don't think there's going to be massive changes. So I have legal advice. I have people that are working on this for us. There will be contracts that people to sign. We will be having a chat with people. I will be showing them exactly what what they're getting for their franchise fee. We will be talking about that we're at version 1.0, that will soon move to 2.0 and 3.0, and that I want to give people just like a little taste of what will come on stream further down the line in terms of residual income for them. We're not 100%, and I'm not claiming to be 100% on exactly where it's going to go. I understand business a little bit more to realize that we don't know what's around the corner. Things like, I mean, a number of years ago, we had no idea Brexit was going to come along. Some people may have had, but I do understand that like business is fluid, and that what we've got to be is understand that it's fluid.
Oh yeah, I know I play devil's advocate here, but I can also say this much: and the franchises I've been involved with from the business side have to evolve as they go along, because things do change in the world and in the marketplace. So there is a level of evolvement as well as you're going along. So I just want to make that clear to viewers at home. If it seems I've been purposely coming out with all the hard questions, it's for those, but there is that element of evolvement that has to take place because the world changes in certain ways. Of course it does. Yeah.
And I suppose so there's, you could be a therapist working by yourself and you're focused on you're seeing your clients, and sometimes, and I've had this myself, you're working so hard in the business that you don't get a chance to work on the business. So a brilliant franchise member, you have other people working on the business for you on your behalf.
Mm-hmm.
So that latest developments in technology, we know that's changing all the time. So that there's a backroom team already there working on these. So I'm not a technology guy. I've found a team of really good guys. So I have employed the technology guys. I've employed the social media guys. I've employed the video guys. As being part of a franchise, you have all this team. They're working for you. So while you're working in your office, you've got all these guys working for you on your behalf. So all of that stuff.
So that's being done for you. That's going to appeal to a lot of people. I get that. Excellent.
That's what I hope. Yeah.
But in this model, as it were, in the model you put together, and please tell me you know this, otherwise this is going to be one of those Dragon's Den moments where I have to do a Deborah Meaden and tell you, you really should know your numbers. What are you expecting people? Because you said you'd expect them realistically to be able to earn about $2,000 a week. Okay. You're not guaranteeing it, but you'd expect them to realistically be able to earn £2,000 a week. Now, I'm assuming by that you mean turnover as opposed to profit.
Well, no. Yeah, I mean, I put it like this. I said like minimum of 1,000 is a lowball expectation. Like my clinic in Dublin regularly does $4,000 a week, sometimes more.
But let's just say that 2K is profit then, right? Let's take the attractive end. That's 2K, that's profit.
Yeah.
How many clients is the franchisee going to have to physically see in that week we'll say it's turnover because we don't know what the costs are going out. So we'll just say they take in £2,000. They may have expenses to pay out that, but to take in £2,000, how many clients are they going to have to see in that week?
They can do that with 8 clients.
8 clients. So you're working on a model where they're charging 250 quid for a client. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By the way, for people at home, I'm not criticising that, because 250 quid, frankly, I think is the minimum end of what people should be charging, because you attach value to it. So that's good.
With smoking clients is higher. With smoking.
So if they've got 8 clients, we're just working on this 8 client. So 8 clients, 250, £2,000 inwards. Fair enough. Not all of that may be profit, because they've got about about £312.50 a week of that's got to come out for the franchise fee. Plus there'll be other miscellaneous expenses, but still, nonetheless, 8 clients. And I'm assuming you're working on a what? How long was a session in the way that you're advising
Um,
people?
so I mean, so generally I would look at like a quit smoking session is around about an hour. That's 350. A session for um, normally I would advise people that to do a session for 250 will be 2 hours.
2 hours. So we're talking 16 hours on this 8 clients. That makes the 2 grand income.
Yeah.
But still expenses to come out of that.
Yeah.
So 16 hours in realism is 2 8-hour days. But that would be working like a complete utter donkey, chucking one out the door, getting the next one in. So in realism, you need to spread that out. Unless you want your work-life balance to be ridiculous, you need to be spreading that out over at least 2.5 days to allow yourself time to go to the toilet, have lunch, have a bit of a rest between clients to be in your best. Yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, even on a 9 to 5 model, and we know that we're not going to, with hypnotherapy, you're not going to work it 9 to 5 because you want to give an opportunity for clients to come perhaps in an evening or a weekend and stuff to capitalise. But let's just say a 9 to 5 model for this talking it through example, and you only want to work a maximum, excuse me, say 4 days a week, because you actually want an improvement in your work-life balance by going self-employed. That would mean of the 4 days you're going to work, 2.5 are taken up treating these 8 clients and the gaps in between. That still leaves a day and a half in this example 4-day week work model. Why don't people just use that day and a half? So they're still only working 4 days a week to market themselves, where if they do it intelligently, they will not even need to spend £312.50 or whatever it works out per week to a franchise.
Yeah. So first of all, I think they'll need to spend a lot more than that. I think with the price of Google Ads, you mentioned earlier, you spend like what, 12 grand some weeks or 12 grand a month or something.
That's selling products, but you know what, in terms of getting clients, I actually would advise people not to even bother with Google Ads. There's far cheaper ways to make far more money and get bigger return on investment than Google Ads or Facebook ads.
So, well, certainly the model that I use that works here, Google Ads is a part of it. Some of the other things I mentioned around like building publicity and all that is part of. They'll bring in a lot of people, referrals bring in a lot of people. We'll talk to people about like going out to local doctors, going out to local influencers. So there's lots of different things, and I've, as you know, I have studied your own bootcamp course. So there's lots of wonderful things out of that borrowed. There's like, you know, a person can, of course, they can decide, you know what, I'm going to take that time, I'm going to do it myself. People will. The franchise isn't for everyone. But in terms of the time and effort that you got to spend, especially if you're a novice, learning how to do this, the mistakes that you got to, to yourself, even to myself, I've made the mistakes. I've learned the hard yards.
Mm.
So, and it's taken a lot of pain. All of that learning has taken a lot of pain. And from all those mistakes and all of that pain, I've got to a place here where I've got a system that works really, really well. So for anyone starting out there, yeah, absolutely, they could go and do it themselves. 100% I believe that they can. I also 100% believe that there's going to be a lot of pain. There's going to be a lot of lessons. The franchise, what it does for people is just, it does all of that stuff for you. So if all of that is a head muddle to you, if all of that is just, I don't know where, I don't know what to do, I don't know what works, I don't know who I'd even call, I don't know how to create a Google ad, maybe that's going to take a lot of learning, maybe people are technically minded. So all of that stuff is taken, all of that job is taken from you. And it's a lot of work and it's a lot of time.
No, unquestionably, for some people watching this will be the perfect solution for them. Just like anything in life, you know, in terms of this franchise idea you're offering, for some people, it will be ideal for them, and vice versa. Now, by vice versa, I mean, this is me playing devil's advocate from a different angle. So somebody signs up for your franchise. They're all very happy with it. This isn't actually about the franchise, although it is, because if they've signed up to your franchise, they've got to sign a contract with you. And with my experience of franchise contracts, I know that they will be or should be within that contract certain clauses in terms of brand reputation protection and management.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to give a hypothetical example, and you tell me how this would be dealt with by your company as a franchise provider. Let's imagine I joined your franchise, yeah?
Yep.
And I'm one of your franchisees, but me, Alex Smith, has also gone and bought Jonathan Royal's Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp. And I've gone and I've studied Secrets of Hypnotic Success, how to get television, radio, newspaper and magazine publicity. And I follow the proven plan in there that Jonathan Royals used with these famous names, television hypnotists and life coaches that you can see him pictured with on the internet. And I come up with an angle for a story and I go to the national press and lo and behold, I submit this on Monday morning, Tuesday morning, it appears Hypnotits, Alex Smith, hypnotherapist, is having amazing results, help lap dancers increase the size of their tits. Turn to page 3 to see the massive mammaries of Maria from Merseyside. Right? Now, that's not as daft as it sounds, because I did practically that in about 1994 with the Sun newspaper here in England. But let's just say this is happening now. So that happens. And then, as happens these days online, all the other papers take it. And before you know it, worldwide, it's on websites galore that Alex Smith, a franchisee of results-focused hypnotherapy, is helping lap dancers increase their breast size so they've got massive mammaries like Marie from Merseyside. And there's pictures everywhere of with her tits out, being linked with the brand name Results-Focused Hypnotherapy. Now, frankly, from my point of view, I'm going to make shitloads of money because I'm the one who got most of the publicity. There will be, frankly, from my point of view, a positive knock-on effect for result-focused hypnotherapist franchisees in that the suggestion is there that other ones of them will be able to help women increase their breast size and it will create clients. But, playing devil's advocate with myself, there are going to be a lot of people offended by that type of story or sensationalization of things, and a lot of franchisees will be offended and naffed off that the name of something they're paying a license fee for has been brought into disrepute. So, as the franchisor, with such provisions accounted for in the written contract, no doubt, how would you handle that?
I suppose, legally, legally, I'm not a legal expert, so I'd ask my legal team. If there's, if regulatory, if someone steps out of line in the moral and ethical codes, then there's an issue.
Well, here's the thing, this is what it comes down to. Legally, you can stop anyone from doing anything as a franchisee as long as it's clearly laid out and in the contract what they can and can't do, and that it abides by all elements of the Unfair Contracts Act 1974. As long as it is a completely fair contract and it clearly lays out what they can and can't do, what is considered to bring a company into disrepute or not, then if they do something that falls foul of that contract, you can terminate their franchise immediately, make such known if you so desired.
Yeah, Yeah. If someone
But would
falls
you in
foul,
that circumstance? Here's the question: would you, in an example like that,
in an example like
terminate
that, well, so I think it's very important for us to protect the name of hypnotherapy, especially if we're going to be a large group operating within it. I think it's very important to protect it. I think there's a whole lot of stuff out there that
Okay, but in
people
the exact
still,
direct example I've given you, in the context of
yeah,
that direct example, would you terminate the franchisee's agreement,
I'm not
assuming the
sure I would.
contract had been written in the
I'm,
first place, right?
I'm not. I'm not sure I would, to be honest. Um, I
Okay.
think there's probably room for things like three strikes. If there's a certain specific strike, I'm not sure that I would. I guess as part of this, so like lots of therapists out there claim to be a marketing expert. I don't claim to be a legal expert. I guess I would just have to defer to a legal team, sit down, have a chat with them, decide, the impact on the company of this. Was it, was it someone gone rogue and bringing the name of the company into dispute? If it is, what's our legal standpoint? I guess, I mean, I think I'm
What
quite
about this
fluid on a lot
example
of
then?
things.
Let me give you another example. And let's say you have got the provisions there for, damage, reputation management and whatnot. Let's say that I have been treating lap dancers and genuinely helping them increase their breast size, or at least give them more confidence in themselves so that they feel more confident in what they're doing. And I've not approached the press. I haven't approached the press. But one of my clients turns out to be a very famous page 3 girl, and I've also not encouraged her to tell anyone about this. But she goes away. She's doing a photo shoot. The cameraman from whatever red top paper goes, or Girly Mag goes, "Oh, you seem so much more vibrant and confident. What's going on?" And she mentions, "Oh, I've seen this hypnotherapist, and he used results focused hypnotherapy, and I feel so much better." And next thing you know, the photographer goes away, as they do with these things, and they write the little bit of blurb that they do that goes with the photos. For those who've never seen page 3 in the red tops, there's always some ridiculous stuff about how, Marie from Merseyside is studying for a degree in quantum physics. So they've got an excuse to stick her in a mortarboard. God knows. Oh, they do similar in the magazine, so I'm told. And he decides to take this snippet of information that has been told by Marie from Merseyside and bang in, "Since I last worked with Marie from Merseyside, massive mammaries have got bigger thanks to results-focused hypnotherapy." After investigation, we might ring her up after and ask what was the name of the hypnotist. So, and she said, "Oh, it was Jonathan Royal," whatever, right? Or Cormac Colleran. So he then butts in, "Apparently, Marie went to see Mucky Svengali, Cormac Colleran." This is the way that these tabloids write things up. I've had, or you've had, no involvement in making that suddenly end up appearing and going viral on the internet.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
And hence, with no control, it gets written up in a way that Mucky Svengali this. Which perceptively to anyone else seeing it outside of that sphere would arguably be bringing results-focused hypnotherapy into disrepute because of the way it was written up.
So how would I deal with Jonathan? I mean, it's not Jonathan's fault, is it? In fact,
no, but it could perceptively be causing harm to your brand, and as a franchisor, you've got to protect your franchisees as a whole, which sadly means sometimes
I think we'd have to manage. Yeah, so I think we'd have to manage the situation rather than managing the hypnotherapist. The hypnotherapist just have to give someone confidence.
How are you going to manage that situation? Because honestly, you can't manage that situation.
So here's the thing, right?
It's too late. It's already gone in the media. It's already gone viral. Mucky hypnotist. What's it? Use result-focused hypnosis.
So there's some things that you can control, and there's other things that you can't control. And there's something outside of your control, you don't waste your time trying to control it. So if something like that happened, and you were asked for, an opinion on it, I mean, the fact is, one of our hypnotherapists worked with a person, give her confidence. Whatever she does with that confidence is her business. It's not something that we need to be getting ourselves involved in. The same thing, like someone could buy a car from Ford. They could go and use that car and drive into a crowd of people. That's not like you can't go over to Ford and say, your car, your company's brought it to disrepute because this guy drove it into a lot of people. It's the same thing as, with hypnosis. It's quite powerful. We're using things with it. Whatever the person goes and chooses to do themselves with it, that's their business. If that impacts on our business in some way, all we do is just be genuine and say, well, the same thing. Like it's, all we're doing is giving someone confidence, but that is up to themselves. I think that a situation like that, I think honestly, the way my head is thinking, I think you could turn that into an advantage. Absolutely.
So do I personally, but I just wanted to ask you from the point of view of a friend. It's refreshing to hear that, because I won't mention names, but a lot of these respectable hypnotherapy organisations that you pay your yearly fee to, were that kind of scenario to occur, you'd likely get thrown out. Well, not likely. I know you most likely. It's more like definitely would. Because if they had been mentioned, because they don't want any connection with anything like that. Just also the same, another example, franchisees. Is this going to be available not just to hypnotherapists, but people who do hypnotherapy and stage hypnosis? Because these respectable bodies, if they find out you're doing stage hypnosis shows, you can't be a member of these winky wanky boys clubs if you do stage hypnosis shows. You are the devil's son or daughter.
No. Like, if someone is going and doing hypnosis shows, fair play to them. I mean, that's pretty good. If they're, all I'm concerned about is if they're a competent therapist and if they're willing to improve. And that, go do the shows, whatever you like. Go do shows, entertain people, do a show for charity every now and again.
That's a refreshing view. That's good. That's actually good to hear, because that's a refreshing view, especially because it's also congruent with the idea that you want to help people rather than restricting them, as I think a lot of these boy clubs actually do, hold people back, I think.
Yeah. No, I don't like that. I think, our whole thing in hypnosis isn't it to empower people. Like,
your weather must be much better than ours, because you suddenly got a load of sun come through the window, and I wish I was there.
It's beautifully sunny out there. It's a little bit windy, but it's nice clear skies.
So excellent. Look, I've dragged you over the coals, metaphorically speaking, but I have played devil's advocate, and you've handled it incredibly well, which thank you and respect to you for answering the questions. It's a joy to hear that you will not discriminate against people who also do stage hypnosis. That is very refreshing. It is a joy that you are foresighted enough to see that things that at first sight can look like a media screw up in the context of what we talked about can actually be advantageous in the long term. And especially because the world is changing so much, it needs somebody with their eyes open, who's aware enough and open-minded enough to embrace those changes. So thank you. People watching this who want to find out more, who want to get in contact with you, perhaps come to one of the free taster days that I know you're setting up out there. Can you tell them a little bit more and where to go, where to visit, and how to get hold of you?
So if you go to resultsfocusedhypnosis.com, at the moment there's a little area where you can contact us. That's the best place right now. Contact us, send us just a message of interest if you're interested in a franchise holder. I will then come back to you over the coming days and tell you about the next steps. There are running, I think you may have seen online, I'm running a hypnosis masterclass series in Dublin. I will be putting a live stream of that. So the best thing is, if you send us a message on resultsfocusedhypnosis.com. Tell us if you're interested in attending the live stream of the Hypnosis Masterclass. We can help you with that. If you are interested in having a franchise in your area, we can help you with that. Your area will be geographically protected, so we're not going to put people right in beside each other.
I was going to ask you that. Yeah, excellent. That's one question I need to ask you before you really plug the website and everything. Because I'd forgotten, but you've reminded me. Geographically protected area, which obviously is what a franchise is. But I mean, how can you possibly enforce that in this day and age when you can treat people via Skype video call or Zoom video call, which means, you know, your person in Birmingham could get direct inquiries from people in Manchester and arrange to see them via Zoom video call?
I think that's okay. I think what we're going to focus on is we'll look at population size. Obviously, all of the information is there at a click of a button, so we can literally drop a pin in a map and see what the population is 10, 12 miles around them. So you'll be protected with that. If you're in Birmingham and someone from Manchester contacts you and says, I want to do it over Skype, then I think you get to deal with that person over Skype. I personally, I think that's fine. I don't know if that's something that might come up as a teething problem along the way. I don't envisage it.
So you're not restricting someone's area in a franchise manner, then, are you?
Well, what would someone do in Manchester? They would typically Google hypnotherapy Manchester, and therefore the person that's in Manchester should come up. If they're Googling hypnotherapy. If they're in Manchester and they're Googling hypnotherapy Birmingham, maybe it's because they want to travel down there. I don't know.
Trust me, unless you're paying for your franchisees to have Google AdWords for Manchester that they're going to be paying in the rounds of, or rather you are, if you're saying they're providing that's part of the franchise, where you're going to be paying in excess of £5 a click, I'm telling you now, your chances of your site, their site, being clicked, especially because it'll show up as being a paid advert one rather than being in the top 10 listing, are very minimal, to say the least. Because I know most of the people who will currently show up on the first 2 pages of Google without paying for adverts, let alone paying for adverts, which is even more difficult, as you know. And a lot of them do not live in Manchester. They're getting clients to visit them in Birmingham or do it over Zoom. That's what you're up against.
Yeah, so again, let's say there's 15, 20 people, 30 people in the UK. Now, we will have an onus on everyone maybe 2 or 3 times a year just to write. So that is 90 blogs. This is the kind of thing that Google likes to move you quickly up the list. So we're going to use the power of many. So rather than one person on their own spending hours writing blogs every evening, so they've got lots of blogs, so like Google moves them up the organic list, we got lots of people in a few blogs, and we show them how to write it. We show them how to, or in fact, what we do is we get them to write it. We send them to my girl Katrina, Katrina then looks and she just keywords it all. So she does the keyword part of it for you. She gives you advice on what you could be writing if you want advice. So now you've got like you can have 10, 15 blogs a month building up the activity on this website. So that we're moving up. Moving on. Again, it's just using the power of the many against the little. It's again, when I talk about 1.0 versus 2.0 versus 3.0, the position that the franchise is in right now compared to the position it will be in a year's time and 3 years time and 5 years time are completely different. So that once you have the power of the many and you leverage that with time, now you've got something colossal that's building and building and building.
But the true reality of it is that you cannot guarantee somebody an exclusive geographic area in a conventional franchise manner, can you? You know, this Wheelie Clean business, for example, that I mentioned earlier, would say that I could operate in postcodes of, and I'd get the list of them, and it'd be maybe Rochdale, Bury, Middleton. It'd be what would be called a certain area of Manchester, okay? Whereas somebody else would get certain other postcodes, and that would be the south side of Manchester. And a final person might get these other postcodes. They need more of them because there's less population in that area to make it fair. So they get the other 2/4 of the pie, so to speak. And that's how the basic, basic franchise normally works. And were someone to contact me and say, come and clean my wheelie bin or in postcode whatever, I'd have to go, no, you need to contact this person because he's got the license for that area. It's impossible for you to enforce that with this, isn't it? Because of Zoom and Skype, video, online therapy sessions. The entire world is a potential, and if you are restricting it to their geographic area, the only way you can do that legally is to say they can only take clients from that area, which means you're going to have to rule out them ever doing any online video sessions because that potentially means they could be taking clients from all over the world.
Most of my clients, the vast majority of my clients come to see me in Dublin. I think people like that. I think people like to come and meet the person. I think there's still that.
That'll be very much down to your marketing law, won't it? Because in fairness, I know the vast majority of clients I see, yes, some do physically travel from all over the world to me in Rochdale, in Greater Manchester, or pay for me to go to them. But the largest majority are done via Skype or Facebook video call or Zoom video call, and they can be anywhere in the world because my stuff's tailored that way so that when people contact me, they'll bend over backwards to be treated by me because they've already made the buying decision before they even pick up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to police that? Because if you can't police that, it's not a franchise, is it? In the conventional.
Yeah. So again, there's going to be teething problems. The main kind of thrust that I'm looking at in the main marketing model is that people will be coming into your clinic, especially for the first session. If they want to do it from Skype and all that after that, that can happen. But the main idea, the thrust is that people will be coming into you. It's pretty much like, so I'm sure that'll happen from time to time. Like typically, I've worked in a similar franchise model here in Ireland. I had one for South Dublin. I saw what worked well, what didn't work well. I've seen the limitations. I've seen how we can bring it like to a whole new level. So that's I've had my learning experience there, and we have had time someone would contact you, and someone might contact you from 50 miles away, and there's another person there, and we say to them, in that case, say, actually, there's someone in your area. So we do that. Someone in your area, you're better to go to them.
So I think are you saying, just a minute, you're saying you do that. Are you saying that the phone calls and inquiries come through to you as the franchisor and not to the franchisee originally? Are you policing those inquiries?
Just ask me that again. Am I policing every inquiry?
Are you saying that any inquiries, whether via email or telephone, are going to you, the franchisor who created the franchise, or source not going to the franchisee? Are you policing them, in other words, and then sending them in the right direction?
I'm setting up a system so that, so for example, if someone picks up the phone and rings, there'll be an operator that will call the phone. They're trained, that'll answer the phone. The operator is trained to say that there's no therapists ready at the moment, available at the moment. Tell me what area you're in, and I'll have a therapist call you as soon as possible. So it'll go out there and promise. What's that?
So you are policing it then? In franchise,
well, I guess there's a system that does that. Yeah.
The inquiries that come in for Birmingham get sent to Birmingham, thus you're making sure that inquiries for Nottingham, say Wolverhampton, that's not far from Birmingham, are not being sent to Birmingham, they're being sent to the Wolverhampton franchise.
Yeah. So there's a system in place that will do all of that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Someone makes calls. Where are you? Yeah. Okay,
so in that degree, you are protecting the franchise area, postcode area that they get given. Now that we've dug a bit more, But that doesn't stop them from necessarily being approached on social media, does it? Directly and taking on board clients from other geographic areas, does it?
So like someone, for example, in Wolverhampton will have results focused hypnosis Wolverhampton Facebook page, and an Instagram page, and
That
so
doesn't mean that only
they
people
will
from
which
Wolverhampton are going to contact them, Lord, does it?
of course it doesn't. So someone in Birmingham or Manchester could get you via your Facebook page. That can happen, yeah. And if that happens, that means that the efforts that your Facebook page is creating has brought in that person. Now, we will show the people in Wolverhampton how to target just their, and we will prohibit them from targeting other areas, because the other area outside of their area is protected. So you're not allowed to target.
So how can you place that? Are you going to have insight control? Are you going to have access to the passwords to their Facebook pages?
So an administrator on a page owned by the franchise.
And
run by our Facebook guy.
Right. So if they do want to boost ads, they're going to have to pay money to you, not Facebook, because you as the administrators are going to have to pay it to Facebook for the boosting.
So if they want to, they are as administrator. They are able to boost their own ads.
Okay.
They can do a boost. I'm not 100% if it needs to come via us, it comes via us. But I think they can boost their own. I think that I'm pretty sure there's a facility that they can boost as an admin.
Well, no, if you've got control of the page, you might put them on as an admin, but whoever is the owner of the page, I've got, say, 20 different pages. I've got more than that, but I've got 20 different pages. It doesn't matter who, and I've got different admins on some of them. But ultimately, if one of those admins was to boost a post, it's going to be my credit card as the owner of all those pages that gets charged by Facebook. So if you set them up so that you've got the franchise control, you're going to get charged by Facebook for the ads, which means obviously you're going to need the franchise to pay you.
You can add cards. So you can add different cards. And like what we have is we have a guy that's just managing Facebook for us all the time. So all of that, I'm not the expert on it either. I've got a guy that is an expert. He'll take care of all of that. Now, if there's any little things that need to be ironed out as we go along, that'll happen.
Okay, cool. It's just because, if your major selling point is we're making life easier for you, the more things that come along that interfere with that ease.
I think things will pop up. Like, that's just life. That's just business, and we'll figure it out. We've got in the areas that can figure out these things straight away.
Cool. Well, I would hope that you have very few questions that I've not thought of as a viewer of this, which would mean that if at this stage you think getting said help and assistance would be beneficial to you, that you're not going to need to ask any of the questions that have been asked in the past hour and 20 minutes or so. All you'll need to do is click on the link below this video, resultsfocusedhypnotherapy.com. Hypnosis. Let me make a note of that because I've got to type this in a minute. Oh, it's all right. I did write it down, right? If I want to type it. It'll be resultsfocusedhypnosis.com, and then email or give Cormac a ring and take things to the next stage. Perhaps go to one of those. And now I'll let you finish this off. Go back on track. I won't interrupt you, I promise, about the fact you've got these days coming up.
Yeah, and you can also find me, I think, Jonathan, you can put my full name, Cormac Colleran, maybe on the video. Put me on Facebook either. That's easy too. Send me a message on Facebook. The Hypno Masterclass series. So it's on next Wednesday, the 26th at 7 p.m. and the following Wednesday, the 4th. Within that, I'm just going to essentially pulling the curtain back and giving you a behind-the-scenes view at the types of processes that I use in my clinic every day. I'm going to teach you an induction that you definitely haven't seen before, that's been developed by me in the clinic every day. I'm going to teach you a process that I use for quitting smoking, a 5-step process. I'm going to teach you never diet again process, approach to permanent weight loss, how to deal with your clients around anxiety. So what I'm doing is I'm not going to teach you in depth in the masterclass series. I'm going to give you like frameworks for what we do. The class series is there is going to be live training in Dublin as a result of this. So for a lot of UK or US visitors, that might not be appropriate for you. You may not be able to come to Dublin for that. If you do want, or if you want to find out a little bit more, absolutely let me know. But if you want to just join in on that masterclass series, let me know via resultsfocushypnosis.com or send me a messenger on Facebook, Cormac Colleran, and I'll be able to send you a link so that you can tune in live in the evening.
Excellent. The link will be right below this video on YouTube. It'll also be below this video on Facebook when it goes up there live today, which for the record is the 20th of February 2020. So if you've seen this in years to come, those masterclasses may have already taken place. However, the website will still be live. You'll still be able to contact Cormac, and I'm sure he'll have other events taking place, so you can check on dates and things. Don't be put off from contacting him. So thanks once again, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Cormac, for handling things so wonderfully. Respect to yourself.
And for the great questions.
This will go live. I'm going to literally go and make a brew, and then I will get this up. So by within the next couple of hours, you should find that I have tagged you on Facebook, and this will go live on hypnosisweek.com, where you can join us every week for new interviews. Thanks again, Cormac. Thank you, viewers.
Brilliant.
Bye for now.
Thank you.